I'm Angela Morgan.
And I'm Kelly Myers.
And you're watching Now You're Cookin'. This week we'll be sharing with you some quick and easy appetizers. And Kelly is an appetizer maven, according to me. Might come in handy on your job resume sometime, Kelly. Now, Kelly and I go way back to our elementary school days, which really was only a few years ago when you think about it.
Maybe 5.
Yeah. You think they believe us? Kelly has a lot of experience preparing appetizers for a lot of gallery openings, and she most recently has opened an even bigger location for her art studio in downtown Tahlequah. And Kelly, I'm always fascinated with your story about how you got started in art.
Well, I've always been really creative, and I've always enjoyed doing artistic things, but I had an idea that growing up that it was being an artist was the furthest thing from my mind, and it was the kind of thing that I thought you either had it or you didn't. You were born with it or you weren't. And I had a wonderful experience in college when I was taking a class that I actually ended up in by accident. It was the wrong class, and I was just returning to school after about a 5-year hiatus, so I didn't question it when an advisor put me in the class. And after about 4 weeks, I realized that I'm in a real studio art class. So a lot of things happened over the course of that class, but I honestly really didn't take it very seriously at first. And I'm shameful to admit that. But I wanted a good grade, and the grade I was getting in the class was not satisfactory. And after midterms, I decided that I was going to do something about that. And so I started to pay a lot of attention to everything the other students did. I started to really listen to what my instructor said. I asked a lot of questions, and I started putting a lot of time and effort into it. And the only way I can describe it is it's as if something just clicked in my mind, and it just changed. And all of a sudden, I got it. And all of a sudden, I realized you could approach art from a technical aspect, and you could improve. And it was really more about skills than your born talent. You had to be willing to do the work, do the time to produce what you wanted to produce. And I honestly just fell in love with that process, and I couldn't get enough of it after that. I took another class just because I was interested in it and had enjoyed that, and I then took another one, and next thing I knew, I was a full-fledged art student. And now here I am, 10 years later, more than 10 years later, and I am a professional artist and have been showing my work almost 10 years. So.
And Tahlequah is lucky to have you and your studio offering. And I know you have an artist reception coming up, and I'd like you to share one of your appetizers for us.
Well, I sure will. In the spirit of summer, and all things summertime, nothing says summer more than fresh fruit. I love fresh fruit and fresh ingredients. And what I'm going to do today is it's a very quick, simple, easy recipe.
The best kind.
All natural ingredients for the most part. And when I'm preparing for a reception at the studio, most of the time I'm pressed for time. There's so many other things to do. Oh, yes. So I want some good-looking, impressive appetizers that aren't going to be real time consuming, that I can usually do kind of on the spot. And this is one of those. It's just a fruit dip with fresh fruit, and I'm going to use about half of this container of plain low-fat yogurt. I also like to make things that are guilt-free.
Can't beat that.
I'm just going to use about half of this container and put it in a mixing bowl. And then I'm going to use about half of this container of Cool Whip Light. Again, guilt-free, we want it.
Yes.
Now you could actually do this without using the Cool Whip, but it's a lot creamier when you do use the Cool Whip. You could just use the yogurt by itself. So we're just going to stir that up, And we're going to put a little bit of almond extract, just a tiny bit, and just a teeny tiny bit of real vanilla. And this is just going to be a drop or two because this stuff is strong. This is actually vanilla that I brought back from Mexico. Okay. And then we're going to put in agave nectar.
Love
and this is a
that.
brand new, yes, great all natural sweetener.
Yes.
And I'm going to put maybe 3 tablespoons in here. Stir it up, and that is it. That's all the ingredients that you're going to use. And this is one of my son's absolute favorite things, and it's a crowd pleaser at all the receptions. Everyone loves fresh fruit, and if you add just a little bit of creaminess with it, it's hard to resist.
Oh yes. I can only imagine anything with agave sweetener in it. Delicious.
And of course, if you like it a little sweeter, you can add a little more. And we're just going to spoon that on there.
Ooh.
And we are ready to go.
I'm going to taste test. Fantastic, Kelly. Thank you for sharing that recipe with us. And when we come back to Now You're Cooking, Kelly will share another one of her fast and easy appetizers.
Women have been selling Avon since 1886, but it hasn't been till recently that you could walk into a storefront and buy a product. Well, local Avon representative Chandra Robertson has brought that to Tahlequah.
You know, they're liking the idea of being able to come in and see the product, smell the product, see the colors, and able to buy it right then off the shelf.
Chandra does consulting too, so those hard questions like which color looks best on me don't have to be answered alone.